Good evening, everyone. I am Victoria Nicole. I am the founder of the Confessions of a Lady, a nonprofit organization where we speak out against domestic violence, concentrating on those girls ages 7 and up who have been molested and or raped. And from there, we have created the confessional room where we get women and or young girls to come in and just share their testimony as to the situation they have been in, how they've overcome, if they're currently in it, what they're doing to overcome their situation. So in the room tonight, we have none other than Miss Sophia. Sophia and I met via, like many people, through social media, and we have become great acquaintances. And so I'm really just waiting on her to come in. Oh, she's there. She's here. So you guys, the reason why we do this, and again, we have gotten off course some, so thank you so much for bearing with us. Some things have occurred in life which has taken us off schedule. However, we're doing our best to get back on, and we want to thank you guys so very much for tuning in every time that we come on live. We know, well, I know that there is power in these testimonies that will help other people to come out of their situations. So I want you all to understand and know, maybe this isn't for you. You know, you have nothing to do with domestic violence, molestation, or rape. It's not you. It doesn't pertain to you. It's not you. But I know that every 1 in 3 girls will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18. Every 9 seconds, there is a domestic violence dispute. Every hour on the hour, there is a child and an allegation of abuse, and child abuse and neglect in the state of Alabama is the number 12 health concern. So maybe it isn't you, but there is someone that you may know directly or indirectly who is being affected by domestic violence, molestation, and or rape. So it's very imperative that we talk about it and we let people know that they are not alone in these situations. Well, to me, it's very important that we do this because of that situation. When you're in a domestic violence relationship, molestation, or rape, or any sort of abuse, you always feel as if you are alone. You always feel as if no one will ever understand what you're currently going through. However, that's just a trick of the enemy to make you believe that there is no way out. But if you follow me for any amount of time on social media, then you will understand that I live by the 3 A's. And those are acknowledge. Acknowledge that you can't change acknowledge your issues and that you can't change it. Accept your past and the things that you can't change up, and affirm yourself that you are deserving of a better and brighter future. So it's acknowledge, accept, and affirm. And I believe that when it comes to any 12-step program, any program, therapy, psychiatry, whatever situation is, the first thing that you always want to do is acknowledge. So within this group, we try to do that. We acknowledge that these things have happened in our life, and we can't take them back. We have to accept those things, and we have to move on from it. And then we have to affirm ourselves, knowing that we are deserving of a better and brighter future, irregardless of the words that were spoken over our life, irregardless of what our current situation and circumstances may look like. You are deserving of much more than that situation of your past. It was just a snippet of your life. It doesn't define who you are. And one of the things my pastor shared on yesterday was, even if you have the opportunity to go back in your past and change something, it could ultimately change who you are today. So I'm not saying, don't ever twist my words and say that I am saying that what happened to you, you know, it should have happened to you, but understand that it has made you who you are, for the better or for the worse. And so we're here in the confessional room hoping that this is going to help you heal. So, Sophia has tried to come in a couple of times, and I'm improving her. Their friends won't be able to watch the live unless they are in a selected audience. Okay, I don't understand. No answer in the live video, guys. Okay. So, Sophia, if you will try, I have put on the request to be in the broadcast. So if you would try and request again. I'm not sure what's going on, love. I have, I have NDIRE, Steady Love in my head. We were just watching, my daughter and I were just watching Black Girls Rock. So it's stuck in my hair, and I actually really, really like that song. Sophia, can you come in? It says no answer from the live video guest. And so while we're waiting on Sophia to come in, we're just letting you guys know that we have open availability. If you have been a guest in the past and want to come again and to speak on another situation or a topic that you have gone through, you're more than welcome to reach out and do so. Or if you've never been a guest before, you would like to be a guest in the confessional room, we are always accepting invitations. We don't require anything. So, I mean, someone asked me that earlier. No, it's just a simple, what Monday do you want to come and share? This is an open forum. We don't, anything goes in the confessional room. I'm a true believer of transparency, of non-sugarcoating things. We get enough sugarcoats in the world. And so I believe that we should sugarcoat things in life. And so the best way of healing is just being your raw, authentic self. And so in the confessional room, if you would love to be a guest, or if you would like to be a guest, we would love to have you. So she's coming in. Really, Caitlin? Come on and say hey. Hi. Okay, thank you. So it's saying that it's adding her in.
Okay.
Hey!
Hello.
Finally. Oh, that's fast.
Girl, let's see. Jesus. I had turned it sideways. Hold on. I'm trying to get it to go right.
It's
Jesus.
okay. Turn it again. Turn it clockwise.
And that's what I'm doing. And it's just, girl.
Stop. Go back again one time. Right there. Now back.
Okay, hold on. Let me put it in my. But it got you looking. Look, we just gonna go with the flow. That's
I'm
what
straight.
we're gonna do. So hold on.
Okay, so now you need to move to the right.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to put it in my thing so I can.
Okay.
This thing is working my nerves. How's that? Is that better?
Feel it better? Yes, your sister.
Look, I gotta turn my phone sideways in order to do it. So it is what it is.
You're here. That's all that matters.
Yes.
So, without further ado, we're gonna jump right into it. I've told the people that you and I really don't know one another. We are friends via social media. I think we're in a couple of groups together. But that's just the lovely thing about social media and the internet. You can meet people from near and far who are currently gone through what you've gone through. It's just an array of people that you can meet on the internet when you are truly open to discussing who and what you have gone through. And so I think that's how you and I met. I think about 2 years ago, when I was putting out my first book, I think we had communication then. And it's from there we just, been communicating ever since.
Yes. And I'm gonna be honest, I do Facebook Lives, but I was like, oh crap, I'm nervous. And I have no clue why.
But you know what? I tell people like this is, I love God and I know that He loves me. All me and my extra ways. But in the confessional room, it's just a total place just to be you. It's just total conversation. And I truly believe that people get nervous or get anxious, we have technical difficulties, only because the enemy is just getting upset that we're getting ready to speak against the things that he feels that it has kept us in bondage. And it's always issues. So when people don't get on live or we're late or something happens, I'm just like, oh, okay, we're still gonna do it. So you lose again.
Yes.
So
Girl,
let's
exactly.
let's start with telling people who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then we'll dive into the juicy stuff.
Okay, so I am Sophia Johnson. I'm originally from Evergreen, Alabama, but I reside now in Mobile, Alabama. And actually, I know you.
Let's stop there. Where is Evergreen? Because the only thing I ever know of Evergreen was some chewing gum.
It is in between Mobile and Montgomery. You ever had Conecuh sausage?
Yes, but you know I'm not a sausage. But yes, I have had it.
It's from my hometown.
Evergreen, Evergreen. Is that near Andalusia or anything like that?
Yes, you would have to either go. You can go through Evergreen, Greenville, or Georgiana to get to Andalusia. Like you
Okay,
could take the.
okay, so I have seen a sign. My mother stays in Enterprise, and she stayed in Dothan for a little while. And so whenever I'm traveling home, or when I'm going home to Florida, I go through Georgiana sometimes. Do I? That just sounds familiar. Georgiana just sounds real familiar.
Yeah, that sounds about
Okay.
right. Yeah. So, but I live in Mobile now, and I am an author. And I was going to tell you, I actually know you. I know you from somewhere else.
Please
It's
share.
not bad. From
Okay.
Stillman. From Stillman.
You know, my Stillman days are really a blur. I try not to remember those days.
But yeah,
That was
so
that was in my big days. You know, I'm Victoria now. I have grown, I've evolved. I'm such a great person. But back then,
yeah,
baby, I was hell in heels.
look, that's me. That's why I was like, yeah, not my best days, but hey, it's okay. It's okay though. But
Like,
yeah, yeah, girl. Mm-mm. But yeah, so I'm an author,
mm-hmm.
and I also am a founder of the nonprofit organization Love You First. So
Like,
yeah.
so let's talk about Love Me first. And where did it come from? Why did you do it and all that good stuff?
Okay, so originally when I did Love You First, I thought it was for other people, for other women. Our main goal is to help women fall back in love with themselves because once we become mothers, we become wives, girlfriends, fiancés, whatever it is, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner and we take care of everybody else but ourselves. So I happen to be originally I was texting like scriptures and different motivational things. I was texting. And so then I was out doing surgery and I heard Holy Spirit say, "Love you first." And I was like, okay, so that's what I'm gonna name. My friend was like, well, you should just make a group on Facebook. And it sort of kind of ended up taking a life of its own. And then my husband was like, well, you should turn into a nonprofit. Then my best friend was like, you should turn into a nonprofit. And I was like, okay. But originally, like I said, originally it was for other women. But then 2 years ago, Holy Spirit was like, it wasn't just for them, it was for you because you didn't love who you were either. So you needed to rebuild yourself, like find your identity, find out who you really are. So that's how that got started. So yeah.
I love awesome. So that's all the preliminary things. So we're gonna jump right in it. So we only have 3 topics here: domestic violence, molestation, or rape. Which one will you be talking about tonight?
So let me tell you, I had to go look up the word because I said sexual abuse. And then I was like, hold on, wait a minute. So I went to look it up and it was like molestation, force, or manipulation. And so I was like, yeah. So we have to go way back. And I think that was what was really the issue with me not really wanting to do it after I realized that's what I said, was because I was 12. And this guy, I was like, oh, he's so cute. Oh, he light skinned. And like Jesus help me. But I was like, oh, and my friend was like, yeah, girl, you should talk to him. Well, she's my cousin too, but she's like, you should go talk to him and stuff. But he was way older than me. He was actually one of my brother friends. And yeah, he played like he literally told me that if I loved him, I would do it. And I was like, I don't know what love is, but I think I love him. So I'll do it. And like when I tell it's my life went downhill from that moment. Like um
So let's
it
stop.
became what
So let's stop. After a lot of general things happening here, and we're a specific place here in the confessional room. And the reason why I say that is because when we generalize statements, we don't know who we're also hindering. So some people need to hear. I know for me, I'm a very visual person. I need to hear exactly what happened. So when you say do it, does that mean he put his finger in your ear, he licked your face, he stepped on your toe? I mean, what does that
No.
mean?
So, okay, at this particular time, my mom was sick. She had breast cancer. And so she had been given 6 months to live. And this was actually the week, that Monday. So she passed away that Thursday. So that Monday, he was like, "Can I come over?" And I was like, yeah. Cause like she would be like sleep and whatever. So I was like, "Yeah, you could come over. It's fine." But when he got over there, it like went in a totally different direction. He was like rubbing on me. And you remember Midnight Love on BET? So that was on, and I wasn't supposed to be watching BET no way, but that's a whole nother story for another time. But I was watching that, and then he was like rubbing on my breast and stuff. I'm trying children, but just rubbing on me and stuff. And I was like, I didn't really know what it was. I was confused. I was like, okay, this is weird. And then he was like, "Come sit on my lap." And I was like, okay,
And how
okay.
old was
And
he?
then he was 17.
And you were 12.
Yes. Yeah. And so, and I have to be honest, like I did have a crush on the guy. Like I really did like him. He had like this nice car, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's so cute." And like I said, he's so cute and stuff like that. And so it was one of those things where he knew there wasn't a father in the home. And like now that I'm older, I know the different things that was, how the manipulation came in. But he knew that wasn't there. He knew that wasn't in the home. So it's like he used that. He was like, "Well, I love you, and if you love me, you'll have sex with me." And I was like, "Okay," but I didn't know what that was. I was like, "Okay." And then the next thing I know, like he done pull down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, and he is going with this first to sort of kind of just see where I was, which I hadn't done anything anyway. So that wasn't one of the, like I hadn't. So he was trying to see and figure out like what, play with it or whatever. And then he pulled down his pants and then he stuck it inside of me, right? And I was like, I screamed. And I was like, "You need to stop." And he didn't. And he wouldn't. And he like had me by my waist and wouldn't let me go. And I was crying. And I just was like, "What is going on?" And after that moment, he was like, "If I find out that you're talking to somebody else, if I find out that you're messing with somebody else, I'll kill you." Went from "I love you" to "If I find out anything else about you, or if you're doing something else, I'm gonna kill you." Okay, sorry about that. But it escalated really quickly after that. And so when he would see me, he'll point at me. But guess what? He had a girlfriend and I didn't know it. I found out about it later. So I was like, he can talk to somebody, but he won't let me talk to anybody. And so my cousin was like, "Oh, he just playing with you." But he saw me talking to somebody who was just a friend of the family. And like he literally hemmed me up on the behind our apartment and was like, "What I told you? Didn't I tell you not to do this and not to do that?" And I started crying, of course, again. But it was whenever he wanted to do anything, I had to be there when he called. If I didn't, he was coming after me. So it was horrible. It was really horrible. So yeah. Ooh,
So how
I'm
long,
sorry.
so how long did this go on? It's okay. It's okay. I promise you it's okay. So how long did this go on?
Ooh, for let's see, that was seventh, eighth grade. Ooh, till I was a senior in high school,
So
to be honest.
so you were
It
12 years
became one
old.
of those,
Go
yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
You know how like I know this is gonna sound really crazy, but it had got to the point where I was like used to it and numb to it, so it didn't even really like, okay, sit it right there. I'm on live. Um, thank you. It had got to the point where I was okay with it. Like it was like it's another day, if that makes sense. Like, okay.
So this started to happen when you were 12 years old. So 12
Yes.
years old, you're around what, the seventh, eighth grade. And then,
Mm-hmm.
so you're basically in middle school and then went throughout your whole high school years. So that's what, 3, 2. So you're looking at a 5 year span.
Yeah.
And so did you ever tell anyone?
The only person that knew, well, my like I said, my best friend, which was also my cousin, she knew, and then my brother knew.
So
And
your brother, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So this was your brother's friend. And so
yes.
eventually your brother found out. And so let me just jump out here on the limb. He assumed that you were consenting to it. Say one more time.
I said not eventually. He knew the night.
And he was okay with it.
I'm assuming so because he didn't really say anything.
How old was your brother?
So he was the same age, 17.
I'm trying to process this because my brother he wouldn't be having it. Understand? Okay,
Yeah.
so you were 12 years old. You didn't have a father in the home, and I'm gonna say this. I really think that it's unfortunate that we as people who have been abused, we always want to um use that as an use that as an excuse for the other person. Yes, true enough, when we don't have a father figure in the home, it does, shape the way that we think and process things, but it also makes us susceptible to people to prey on us because they know that we're looking for that love and affection from a male figure. But he was 17 years old. He couldn't be nothing but your brother, period. He wasn't old enough.
Mhm.
So at what point or when did it stop happening? Like what took place that the abuse stopped happening?
When I started, okay, so I think what grade was I in? I had to be because it actually stopped before my senior year. So I had that wrong. He still was like calling me, but we was like I wasn't allowing that to
At
happen.
this point, you have been right from 12 to about 16 years old. He was already 5 years old, so he was a whole adult that could have went to jail.
Yes.
Okay, I
Hmm.
just want to clarify for the people in the back. So this started when you were 12. He was 17. He had 5 years on you. This lasted for 5 years, what then makes him well into adulthood having sex with a minor.
Yes.
So your brother was
And
aware. Were there any other adults that were aware what was going on? Because he a whole adult himself.
not that I know of. And I was wrong about the day. It wasn't a Monday. It was actually a Saturday. It was either a Friday or a Saturday because, and I'm gonna tell you, I think my mom had an idea that something wasn't right, but she was so sick she couldn't really, you know what I'm saying? She couldn't really respond in the way that I know she would have had she been not sick. Um, and we were really, really close, but he scared me so bad till I was like, I can't even tell my mama because she gonna call for like it's gonna be a big old mess. And I was like, I can't. Like I'm just gonna keep this and I'm gonna hide it. And I'm gonna just hide it because I don't need him because he had already like been hemming me up and stuff and just so I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to.
Was he physically abusive?
Not actually like hitting me, it was more so verbal.
Okay.
It was more so verbal. It didn't get, and that's when you was asking when did it stop. I had actually one of my friends smoked cigarettes, and so she was asking me to hold them for her because she never brought a book bag to school. Like she would just put them like in her pocket, but she was like, "Can you just hold them and I'll get them from you later?" Well, she ended up not getting the cigarettes from me, and I ended up having them at home. And he came to see me. He saw them and he slapped me, and I was like, he was like, "You don't need to be smoking," and I was like, "Did he just slap me?" And then I punched him in the face, and that was the end of that. Like that was the end of it. Like you would have thought that I probably would have did that sooner, but it was like him actually hitting me that I was like, I can't no. Like would like I can take the other stuff, but you actually like slapping me, thinking you're gonna be like hitting me around, like that's not gonna happen. Like I'm not gonna be able to do that. And then I punched him in the face, and then he was like, "I'm gonna get you." And I said, "And my brother would kill you. So what? Like what? What you want to do?"
The
And so
same brother
after
that
that,
this happened.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just trying
I
to figure out, I'm
know.
just trying to tie all the pieces together. The same brother let you get raped, but he was okay with you being sexually assaulted, but he wasn't okay with you getting beat by this man. I'm just trying to process. Just
I
trying to
know.
process.
I know. And while I'm talking about this, I feel like there was something going on with him, but we haven't talked about it. And recently, he did try to reach out to me to talk about it, but
Who is he?
my brother.
Okay.
But because of where we are in our relationship, I'm like, I love you, but I can't. You know. Um, so I'm not sure if he's had something happen. I feel like something happened to him too, which is why it didn't really click in his head that that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story for another day because I don't really know for a fact. So yeah, but yeah.
So, what did you do? So now, you guys have separated and parted ways. What did you do after that? Like, how did you begin your healing process? Or were you in a state of, or were you like many people who felt like you needed to go back? Like, what was your state of mind after that incident?
Okay, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but
That's not nothing that you can say that'll make me think that you're crazy because nothing you can say that I haven't done or been exposed to. So go ahead with it.
okay, so it actually made me be very promiscuous.
I was
So
a ho-ho, so it's okay. I was a ho-ho. It doesn't matter. And I say it jokingly, but I was very promiscuous. So again, it's not going to you can't shock me. You can't.
yeah, and oh, I hate to admit this. Oh, Jesus, but I had a boyfriend um
Couple too.
doing doing part of this. So it gets real crazy. And but yeah, so it just made me it made me like I was like, okay, if I do it, then that means that the dude loves me. So so then if that's what I was like basically wanting all the time was like, dude, okay, I want love. So if I do this, then he gonna love me. If if I just let him have me whatever he want to, that means he love me. So I got love now, so I ain't got nothing to worry about. And girl, that ain't what that meant. But that's basically what it was to me.
Because your first representation of love was from a man who had sex with you. It was from a man who forced himself upon you. So I could say that it is safe to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, because now you weren't being forced to do it. You felt as if you had a hand in it as well. You felt some type of control as to, I'm going to give it to you
Mhm.
voluntarily. In exchange, you're going to give me love because love is having sex with somebody.
Yes.
I know.
Yes, yes. And then to top things off, when I graduated high school, I dated him for like 2 months. The guy.
And it's okay. See, the thing that I love when people come into the room is that we can be real. Because, well, say this, why did you go to him?
because he was always like lingering. He was always like right there. Like if something went wrong, he was like, you know, I got your back. You know, I love you. And I'd be like, whatever. But then it was like once I graduated high school, I was like, well, I'm grown. So like now I have a choice whether or not I want to actually date him. And so I did. Like he was dating this one girl, and I didn't know he was dating her. And he literally had me go hide up under the bed at his house. And girl, talk about somebody was scared. Like I was under there like, oh gosh, she gonna kill me. And I never knew why the girl didn't like me. And then I found out who she was. I said, that's why she didn't like me, because she know, and I didn't know nothing about it. But
Yeah.
like I said, I ended up dating him for like 2 months right after high school. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm done. I told him, I said, you know what? Like, I can't. I said, because when I see you, I be wanting to fight you. Like, I really want to fight you. Like, you messed my life up. You really did. And he's like, what you talking about? I said, don't worry about it. And I'm gonna tell you, recently, probably last year, you know how like you think you over something, and then you hear the person's voice, and you're like, I was I I have not ever been that scared in my life, and I'm 30. At the time, I was 34, and I said, "Oh crap, he in here!" Like that voice, I know that voice, and I was trying to run and couldn't go nowhere. I was just doing like this right here. He was like, "Hey, hey," and I was like, "Hey." He was like, "What's wrong?" He was like, "What's going on?" Like I asked to be your friend on Facebook. I said, "Oh, I ain't see it."
But it was a
I was
trigger. But basically, what you're saying is that it was a trigger. His voice is still a trigger because you probably haven't processed everything that's happened. Because I hear you saying, I hear, and I could be totally wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. You still blame yourself for some of this.
yes and no. Like I walked through it, but then I was like, wow. I think it's more so of nobody nobody really knows. And so for me to even say it, they're gonna be like, well, you was stupid for even like just staying and dealing with it.
But at the
And
end
so
of the day,
that's
But at the end of the day, I tell people all the time, when you tell your story or when you begin to go through the true healing process and you get it out, some people never get the opportunity to speak about what they've gone through. They keep it in and they don't understand why it's hindering them from moving on. They don't understand why they can't have healthy relationships, or they're in relationships that it's still a part of them that they can't give to somebody else because they're still holding on to a piece of hurt in the past. So until you truly release all of that, you're going to still have those moments when he sends you a friend request, or his voice comes up, or for me, it was, I was seeing a silver Altima, or it was Kenneth Cole Black. Any of those fragrances, or any of those places. Like I couldn't go to Tuscaloosa for like
oh
five
wow.
years. Like the whole place, Tuscaloosa, gave me so much anxiety. I would not go past the Mercedes exit. If I had to go, I was dripping in sweat. I was having like panic attacks because Tuscaloosa represented a block of pain in my life. Everything that I felt in my early adulthood that could go wrong went wrong. And so for me, and then for a very long time, I couldn't have conversation with certain people because their voice reminded me of them. Or again, Kenneth Cole Black or Silver Ultimas gave me anxiety because I hadn't truly dealt with the heart of what the issue was. And so until I got to a place where I figured out, okay, so what in the HELL hockey sticks am I still upset about XYZ with this dude, and he's moved all the way on and I'm still having issues because I hadn't forgiven myself from the pain. Like, forgiveness is not about the other person or the situation. It's truly about yourself. Until you identify what that issue is, because I was still feeling as if um I had done something wrong, because I was a good girlfriend. I was a great fiance. And this ninja, he did everything he wanted to do. But then I had to understand and realize I could have never been what he wanted me to be because he didn't know who he was at that time. Does he know these days? I don't know. I don't give a flying flip flop. But I could never be who he wanted me to be, and I could never. And I had to realize it was nothing that I was doing wrong. He just couldn't love me the way that I needed him to love me. And I couldn't love him the way that he wanted me to love me, because I wasn't going to be drug around anymore. You weren't going to stand over my little 5 feet tail and talk about me or tell me I couldn't have company at the house. You weren't going to make me be your main chick and have these other hoes coming for me. And I wasn't raised on the right side of the track. So I'm getting ready to cut everybody. I lost my job at the state because he tried to kill me on their property. Like, and so until I worked through those issues, I could never, those places, Tuscaloosa in its whole self, and you know, and they were triggers for me.
Yeah. Oof. Girl. Oh, look. And I'm gonna tell you, it's like I wrote it, it's in my book. I didn't really, people don't know that my books really do have my life in it. And but in the book I talk about how it's almost like you have it written across your forehead, victim. Like, come rape her, come molest her, just manipulate her. Like it's like it's a written across your forehead. It's like they can see, it's like they can smell it. It's like, the
That's just subconscious. That's just, and I really believe that's the trick of the enemy keeping you in bondage. It's that point of view that he still knows that you have hurt in, so he keeps bringing it up, and he makes it feel as if you're the only one that's happened to, and everybody can see your dirty laundry, everybody can see your issues. But like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, 1 in 3 girls have been sexually assaulted before the age of 18. Every hour on the hour, there is a child in the state of Alabama with the allegation of child abuse and neglect. Child abuse and neglect is a number 12 health concern in the state of Alabama. And then what is it? Every 9 seconds, somebody is a product of domestic violence. Every 9 seconds. You count it up. So when I begin to tell myself the statistics, I am not alone. I may be one of few who stand and tell it boldly because I don't give a flying flip flop who or what is trying to judge me. This is my liberation. This is my freedom. And so I have to speak those affirmations over myself. And let me stop and say this. It's not always easy. I do fall in my states of depression and replay back the words that certain people have told me over the years when the situation still occurs. Like, Victoria, you're going to be single for the rest of your life, and this, that, and the fifth. And I'm single right now. And so I'll tell myself, okay, I'm deserving of more than what somebody is willing to give me. I'm not willing to negotiate my happiness to say I'm in a relationship. I don't want to be in another toxic relationship.
Yes. Woo. That's good. And see, that's why I had went through the whole, like I went through a forgiveness, like a whole like a couple of years of forgiveness, like eliminating all that stuff, because I wanted them to like suffer, because there was other people after that things happened where they just took advantage of me being like sweet from the country, the country girl, and oh, she ain't gonna say nothing, but then we'll go back to the school and say, oh, she ain't nothing but a, and you know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, I'm not. Did y'all tell them what y'all did? Did you tell them what happened? Did no, you didn't tell them. Okay. So I ended up, as I was like writing my books and as I was going through the forgiveness stage, I had to go all the way back to when I was 12. Like the Lord took me all the way back to 12 and then brought me all the way up, all the way through Stillman and all the way through well, let's see, at the time, I think I was 30, 31. And he brought me all the way through that. He said, okay, this is what happened. This is why this happened. Okay, you sort of kind of opened yourself up for this one, but I was still there with you and I protected you when they tried to kill you. I saved you from that, but there were some things that you did put yourself in, so we got to work through that and make sure that you understand that, yeah, I put myself in that situation, but I also know that they could have also restrained themselves as well. So, there's two sides to it. Like, you could have just been like, okay, I'm not going to do that to her. She's not in her right mind. So let me not do that to her. But there's some people that's just not, like, I wanted the Lord to kill them. I was like, kill them all.
Trust me, I promise I done prayed that prayer. But when you get to the place, I'm going to first speak on when you're hurting, I am a true believer of hurt people, and we will self-sabotage ourselves sometimes in the midst of trying to heal. So we'll say we're over something, but then the moment that we get lonely or we get depressed or the words of our past, the people spoken of us begin to echo in our head, then we'll just go get a temporary fix. It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. So we'll go out and we'll have sex with somebody else to help us or make us feel loved and secure all in this moment, or we'll get in fixated relationships and feeling as if, okay, so he may be the right one if I do X, Y, Z, or he's a little bit better than the last one. So let me just go ahead and hold on to him, knowing already from the jump, because we do have the spirit of discernment, knowing good doggone well that he is just like every time Dick and Harry and Beth and Sue, depending upon what your flavor tea is. And but we hold on to that because it's like, okay, at least this time I'm in control again, not knowing that we are self-sabotaging our people, self-sabotaging ourselves, and we're just going through these cycles. And I will echo the fact that when you say you pray to have people kill, my God, just have them run into a pole in the road when they driving. But then I have to realize, so what you're basically saying is they still have control over you. You have this much hatred in your heart and in your mind for this person. They still have control over you because you're wishing ill on them. And again, they have moved on with their lives or pretending as if they are, and they don't give a care about you. So therefore, you don't have forgiveness. So therefore, I can't move you to somebody or to another relationship that truly is designed for you because you're still holding on to something else. And so until you release this, until you begin to ask God, truly forgive me from this. I know there's going to be a process, Lord, but heal my broken heart, heal me from the issues of my past, Lord. Allow for them, and then begin to pray for them. Okay, God, allow for them to be made new. Allow for me to be able to heal from them. Allow for, to restore their heart or whatever the case may be. But the biggest prayer that I believe that you can pray is, Lord, allow for me to forgive them and be able to move on from them and not to harbor these feelings to the next person.
Yes. Oh my God. So I was just actually telling my husband, I said I had to go through the whole thing of the Lord was like, you didn't know what love was, so now I gotta teach it to you. But you while you already in your marriage. And I was like, oh crap. So I had to go through that whole thing. And I basically all of this healing and the forgiveness and stuff has happened while I've been married to my husband. So maybe the first 3 or 4 years, because we're 9 years in now. And so but all of that. So he was like working on me. He was like, you knew what it was, but you didn't understand what it really meant. So now I'm having to work you through all this stuff. I gotta work all this stuff out of you. I gotta get your mind focused on what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, wow. And I didn't want to talk about it, but of course we have had that conversation. I didn't want to, but I had to, so that so that he could understand me a little bit better. Like, okay, so that's what happened. Now I understand where you are and like where your head is and like what was going on when this happened or when that happened. So now I get it. Um but that was one thing that I know for me really changed how I thought. And I didn't realize that I was also I was depressed during those years as well, because like I said, the same week that my mom passed is the same week that this started. So it happened like a couple of days before she passed away. And so it was like just a downfall, like everything was just going downhill. And even though I pretended to be happy and I smiled and I was like, yeah, I'm happy. And what I would do, I wanted everybody's attention, and I'll be like, oh, I want to be in this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And people hated me. Like they was like, oh my gosh, she want to be in everything. But it wasn't that I just wanted somebody to notice me. And I was like, don't y'all see me? Hello, I'm right here. Do you not see me? But so with him noticing me, I think that's another reason why I was like, okay, what he noticed me. So I would just stick with him because he does notice me. And it is what it is. But like I said last year, I thought like him, like I had worked through everything, but I hadn't really worked through that one because that was the beginning. And I didn't really work through the beginning of him like I was supposed to with everything else. So when I heard his voice, it was like, holy crap. Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
It's like
Look, he
you were plucking off the leaves and never pulled the tree from the root.
is that, yes, exactly. And so I had to go through that whole thing with that. So now I was like, I think I ended up seeing him again, and it didn't bother me at all. I was like, oh hey, whatever. It went on by my business. But like I was like, okay. But I had to do some deep digging, girl. Like that thing was way down there. It was way down there. I had to get up out of it. But what I did learn is that you know, you have to forgive yourself. That was one thing I had to work on, forgive myself for thinking that it was all my fault. And then also forgiving him, even though he's never asked for forgiveness, because he honestly I feel like he didn't think that he did anything wrong. And I was holding on to that for a long time. Like, okay, if I hold on to it and God loves me, he gonna let something happen to him. For a long time, I was like, if the Lord really loved me, he'll let some. And then one day, Holy Spirit was like, no, that's not how it happens. Like, that's not how it works. Like, because I was like, how he still living and got a good life going for himself. And the Lord was like, you living and you got a better life than him. So help me understand what you're talking about. And I had to realize, like, okay, I really do have a really good life. So why am I stressing about that? Like, okay, let's dig this up, Lord. Help me get this situation. Help me to deal with this thing. And so, like I said, it was just from that point, it was a downward spiral. But what I did realize is that when you take time to get to know who you are, it helps. And when you ask for help and you ask God to help you, like he will help you, but you got to be ready. If you're not ready, then it's like you're wasting your time. You're wasting a lot of time and energy. And so when I was ready, I made the steps that I needed to make. They was painful, it hurt, and I cried, and I wrote a lot of poetry. I wrote a couple of books, but it helped. So that was my way of doing this, like writing it out and just screaming, doing whatever I needed to do to get it out. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, okay. But I just understood that it wasn't my fault. Like, yeah, there was some things that I did, some situations that I put myself in, but ultimately we both had things that we just did that we shouldn't have done. And I think I'm way better now. I can tell you that. 10 times better than I was. But that thing right there, it did beat me up pretty bad for a long time.
And I can believe it. So as we're embarking on the last couple of minutes, um, if there is someone watching, what will you tell someone who is currently in the situation, and then what would you tell them if they're out of a situation? What should they do, or what advice would you give that person?
Okay, one, if somebody is actually going through it right now, I would say find somebody. Like I had a cousin, she had went through something and she told me, and then we went and told together. So I feel like if you could find somebody that you can confide in, and both of you guys, if you feel like you can't say it, you will take them with you so that you can have somebody to have your back, to be like your, what is it, the sister's keeper, to just
Mm-hmm.
help you and help push you to go ahead and just be upfront with it and let somebody know that it's happening. If you're let's see. And what was the other question?
If there's somebody on the other side trying to heal.
I would say find a coach or a mentor, somebody that can, or even a counselor to just help you, like where you could just let it all out so that they can help you, give you the proper steps. Because sometimes with me, Holy Spirit walked me through that whole thing. But there's some people who need an actual physical person in front of them, like, hey, what else, like, what can I help you with? What is it that you need from me right now to get you to the next step? What do you need to get to the end of this healing process? So I would say find a good counselor, even a spiritual advisor, somebody who you can trust and you know that will not judge you, because that's one thing, you will feel judged, so you don't want somebody that's going to judge you, but they'll listen to you and be a shoulder for you to lean on and give you the steps to take to get to the healing process and get to the end of the healing process.
Okay. That's good. And I definitely think that, so a lot of people, how should I say this? We as African American, we don't believe sometimes in counseling or therapy or seeking other people. We believe that we can go to church, pray, be delivered, and be set free and not talk to anybody else. And I'm all for it. Do your thing, shawty. But then I also know and believe that God made therapists, He made social workers, He made counselors, He made psychiatrists, He made psychologists. So if He made everything, then He also made these tools, because He also knows that we as people may need just a little bit more. Not saying the Holy Spirit isn't everything and all things, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we just need that um non-biased, counsel. And so I definitely think, and I'm pro. I'm pro. I've been getting counseling since Stillman.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and that's 2006. So yeah, 13 years off and on. And so I definitely think that it's very important. I also agree with you with the notion of telling somebody. I can never emphasize on these broadcasts, on my posts, and the world and casual conversation. It is necessary that you tell somebody, irregardless. Make an anonymous call. You can report. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. If you know somebody who is currently going through these situations, if you report it anonymously, and the person is taken into custody, or they're dealt with however necessary legally. I'm not telling anybody to go out here and kill anybody. They will thank you in the long run. And initially, they're going to be upset because they're still in that infatuation stage, they're still in that love stage, they're still in that blaming them stage. They're still there. But once they come from underneath that cloud of what is called denial, they will appreciate you, because in the long run you have saved their life. There are so many people who will never live to tell their story, because it went from just being sexual abuse to emotional, to verbal, and then became physical, and ultimately ended in their life. And so therefore I am a big encourager of, speaking out and talking about it. We can never heal from the
Mm-hmm.
things that we never acknowledge, that we never confess, that we never talk about. I'm a firm believer that you don't have to be, but I am a firm believer. You have to talk about it, and whether that's
Yeah.
journaling, whether that's therapy, whether that's talking to the walls, as long as they don't answer you back, I believe that we have to get it up and we have to get it out. So, is
Yes.
there any last comments that you want to share, Sophia, with the people?
Oh, well, I want to share. Okay, so I told you that I was an author, and I just had a book come out, and it's called The Core. And this book has actually helped me even more with some other little small things. I feel like there's books out there that can help along with the counselors and therapists. But I feel like when we build a relationship with God too, it can help sustain us, because our mind starts going all over the place. We start our thoughts. Like, I know I've had the thought of, like, well, what if I wasn't here? Then maybe I wouldn't even be going through this. Or even when you were saying earlier, you said that we go end up going to have sex with somebody else. Well, for me, I would end up going smoking weed or getting drunk so that I didn't have to think about it. So sometimes we need an outlet. So I just released my devotional, The Core, and I feel like it's going to help a lot of people, because in there it talks about different things. There's revelation, there's truths, I've like confessed some things in there, like, hey, this is what I went through, but now I understand that in order to get past those things, I got to do this, this, and this. So that's one thing I wanted to share with them that I think would really help get through a situation, not only just this type of situation, but any situation in life, personal, business, anything that you're going through in life. Our core needs to be strong. I really feel like look, I ain't gonna get started, but yeah, the core is called The Core, and it's on Amazon. So if y'all want to check that out and just get even just to look at the sample pages, just to see, get a feel for it. But I feel like it's gonna help a lot of people get through forgiveness, go through the healing stage along with a counselor or a therapist.
Okay.
So that's one
So
thing.
if you want it, drop the link, and then I'll make sure that I go back in and I pin it so the people who will watch the replay can catch it. I also try to boost these lives to reach other people who are not in the group. So if you would definitely drop that in the comment section so that I can pin it, so people who are interested can go out and get a copy for themselves. Again, you guys, I'm so grateful and thankful that each and every one of you all decided to step into the confession room with us tonight. I hope that it has, helped you in some sort of way. And again, maybe this is not for you. Maybe you've never gone through any of this situation. This is not your life story. This has no effect upon you. But again, I shared the statistics throughout the broadcast. Please share this broadcast out with your timeline, with your friends, and your personal groups, because I do believe that this will help somebody. And
Yeah.
if you would like to be a guest in the confessional room, you can always inbox me on my business page, my groups, my personal page. It doesn't matter. We do this each and every Monday. I'm getting back in the swing of things now that my life has simmer down and I've gone through my transitions once again. We will be back here each and every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I am grateful and thankful for my many guests. I'm grateful and thankful for you, Sophia. I know that you wanted to bag out. I felt it in my spirit, but you didn't. Because baby, I would have came for you and I would have posted all over social media because I can get real petty when I know that God has told me to do something and he has called for someone to do it with me. And I'm like, okay, so she's sitting here inboxing me talking about some she nervous. Okay, and
Look, but I'm gonna tell you.
you gave me your yes, and I want you to be a woman of your word.
Yes, and it was funny because my sister, I was like, when I sent you the message and I said we're still on for tomorrow night, and you were like, yes, I was like, crap.
Oh, I said she doing this because I haven't seen her up there flyer with the missing day, but baby, we still do it. So first thing this morning when I came back from run, I said, oh, let me send Sophia this here. Nope. I sent it before I left at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I said she gonna get this flyer and we're gonna post it today. And the people who gonna get on the live today gonna get on the live. People who catch the replay gonna catch the replay all day. So therefore she gonna do it. I felt I was like, this girl really, I wish people just stop.
But I'm glad I did it because I got some more revelation. So I'm glad I did it. And my friend told me, she said, you can't prepare for this one. And I was like, what? She was like, if you write anything down, it's gonna be in vain because Holy Spirit is gonna just tell you what to say. And I was like, oh man. So
he does, and if you would have done it, I would have asked other questions because you could have prepared, and then the Holy Spirit could have took this thing a whole nother way. So when it comes to confession room, that's why people are like, well, what questions are you going to ask me? Whatever I'm led to ask. So yes, my general topic is who you are, where you're from, what you want to tell the people, and then I just let it flow. It's just an open conversation. I don't like things like this have to be shared in the raw, authentic way. You can't rehearse this because just like spirit no spirit, game no game, and so therefore it got to come from the raw place. It got to come from somebody I know loves to say from your shundo. It got to come from deep within. So therefore,
yes.
so you got to spit it from the heart. You can't rehearse a testimony like this. You just can't.
Yeah,
Can't.
yeah. And I'm just glad I'm past it because like I said, last year was like, oh, but now I'm like, okay. And I like you said, the triggers, I was like, okay, I know what the triggers are. Thank you, Jesus. Now let's pull it from the root so that I can go on by my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just the best way. So I won't keep you. We try to keep underneath an hour. I know we were a little bit late, but we're right at the hour mark. So again, I just want to thank you. And if you ever want to come back into the room, please do. And again, I can't stress enough. Please share this broadcast out because again, it may not be for you, but it may be for somebody else that you are connected to. All right, you guys. Good night.